This Colts game isn't just another Sunday matchup. It's a gut check, a test of identity, discipline versus chaos. Pete Carroll knows it, the players know it, and honestly, so do we. The blueprint is sitting right there on the table. The question is whether the Raiders will actually follow it. Because if they don't, if they panic and decide to throw everything on Geno Smith's arm again, this game could be over before halftime. We've seen that movie before, and it doesn't end well. Geno starts hot, maybe hits a deep curl. Then he gets greedy, tries to squeeze one between two safeties. Pick. You see it on his face. Frustration, anger, that desperate need to make up for it. And that's when the wheels fall off. Suddenly it's not one interception, it's 3. Not one mistake, it's a meltdown. You can't beat Indianapolis like that. Not this team, not this season, because this version of the Colts. They're built to punish mistakes. They thrive on discipline, they feed off turnovers, and they will bury you if you hand them extra possessions. That's why Pete Carroll's plan is so simple, it's genius. Forget the highlight plays, forget the hero ball, play Carroll football, run the rock, stay patient, use play action to protect your quarterback from himself. Ugly? Sure. Effective? Always. Now let's talk about Indy, because these guys are no joke. They're not a soft opponent you can just steamroll. We're talking top 10 against the run, only giving up about 75 yards a game, and that's against real competition. You've got DeForest Buckner still wrecking pockets like it's 2019. Kwity Paye setting edges with violence. Zaire Franklin flying sideline to sideline like a heat-seeking missile. That's a front seven built to ruin your day. And when they're forcing fumbles and grabbing interceptions like they have been, you better believe they're smelling blood already. And here's where it gets tricky. Kolton Miller's out. That's a gut punch. You don't just lose a top 3 tackle in football and keep rolling like nothing happened. Miller's been elite this year. No exaggeration. His absence shifts everything. Protection calls, blocking schemes, even Geno's internal clock. And stepping into that chaos? Stone Forsythe. Big frame, long reach, solid when moving downhill. But lateral movement? That's the weak spot. If you leave him one-on-one against Buckner or Paye for too long, it's a recipe for disaster. The fix isn't magic, it's smart football. Schematic help, tight ends chipping on the edge, jumbo sets, play action freezes. All the small details that buy your linemen that half second they need to survive. Chip Kelly knows it. Pete Carroll lives by it. You don't let a backup tackle die alone on an island, not against this defensive line. And that's where Jackson Powers-Johnson becomes the quiet heartbeat of this offense. The guy's been flying around like he's got a rocket strapped to his shoulder pads. Watch the Chicago tape. Every screen, every block, he's there finishing plays, hunting contact. But it's his mindset that matters most. When reporters asked him how the team replaces Miller's leadership, he didn't talk about stepping up. He said it's not about one man saving the group. It's about every man doing his part. That's Carroll philosophy in one line. 11 guys, one mission. No egos, no excuses. Because here's the thing. The Raiders can't win this game trying to go strength for strength against Indy's front. The advantage isn't in the trenches, it's behind them. Those linebackers, especially in coverage, can be exposed. Zaire Franklin is tough, sure, but you isolate him in space with someone like Ashton Jeanty or Brock Bowers, and now you're cooking. That's where you win. Get those matchups, create angles, and suddenly that top 10 defense looks a lot more human. And Kelly's been hinting at that all week. Jeanty only had 2 catches last game, both touchdowns. That's efficiency at its finest. That's what happens when you weaponize your backs instead of hiding them. And now, add Raheem Mostert into that mix, a veteran who understands blocking lanes like an artist, and you've got a nightmare scenario for linebackers trying to play both the run and the swing pass. Because here's what's coming. Play action freezes them for half a heartbeat, Geno checks down, and boom. It's 10 yards before the safeties even get into the frame. That's how you kill Indy. Death by patience. Death by discipline. Now Brock Bowers. He's the wild card, the X factor. You move him inside, you motion him across the formation, you line him up outside, defenses can't key on him. They react, they guess, and 9 times out of 10, they guess wrong. Against a defense like Indy's that doesn't bring heavy blitz pressure, Bowers becomes lethal. Geno will have enough time to let routes develop, and once play action pulls the safeties down, the seams are wide open. That's where Bowers feasts. And here's the funny part. Chip Kelly actually said this week that the Colts are one of the best teams at preventing explosive plays. Yeah, about that. They're not. Not even close. Through 4 weeks, they've given up the second most explosive plays in football. They're 28th in yards per play allowed. They bend, they break, and they give up deep shots like candy on Halloween. Maybe Kelly misspoke. Maybe he flipped the chart. But the numbers don't lie. Indy can be hit deep. And that's why Carroll's plan makes perfect sense. Grind early, even if it's ugly. 2 yards here, 3 yards there, it's not about stats. It's about patience. Because when you commit to it, you force those linebackers and safeties to creep up. And when they finally do, that's when you hit them with the dagger. Trey Tucker streaking downfield, Myers running a post, Bowers slicing up the seam. That's how you flip a game on one play. But here's the real test. It's not physical, it's mental. What happens if the Colts punch first? What if it's 10-0 before the first quarter ends? Does Carroll stay committed or does Geno panic? Because that's the crossroads. That's the moment that separates the teams that believe from the ones that break. If they stay patient, they can win ugly. If they panic, they lose quick. Defensively, the Raiders don't need to reinvent the wheel. Max Crosby sets the tone, like he always does. The secondary? Better than people think. Especially in the red zone. They bend, they don't break. They make teams earn it. And that matters against a Colts offense that feeds on short fields. You make them drive 75 yards every possession, they'll stall eventually. But if you give them the ball at your 30 after a pick, forget it. That's game over. And that's why this feels like a classic Pete Carroll underdog game. Nobody believes in them. Vegas has Indy favored by a touchdown. Analysts are laughing. Every stat screams Colts. And that's when Carroll's teams dig in. When it's backs against the wall, when nobody's watching, that's when they punch hardest. You can feel it. The underdog energy. The chip on their shoulder. It's the same vibe from his old Seattle teams. Gritty. Defiant. Dangerous when overlooked. But make no mistake, this whole thing starts and ends with the offensive line. Powers Johnson, Forsyth, the trench warriors. They don't need to dominate, they just need to hold the line. Don't let Buckner wreck the game. Don't let Geno lose faith in his protection, because if Geno starts hearing footsteps, if he starts forcing throws, it's over. Stone Forsyth said something this week that stuck with me. Pressure is a privilege, and he's right. This is the NFL. You don't get to hide, you get tested, you get humbled, but you also get chances to prove you belong. That's what Sunday is for him, a chance to stand tall in chaos. So here's what it all boils down to. One brutally simple formula. Run the ball even when it's not working. Protect Geno from himself. Attack Indy's linebackers in space. Help Forsyth on the edge. And when the defense finally bites, unleash the deep shot that flips the game. That's Pete Carroll football. It's not flashy, it's not fancy, but it works. It's old school grit wrapped in patience. Stay disciplined, stay connected, and wait for your moment. Because if they do that, this won't be a blowout. It'll be a fight, a real one. But if they lose their cool, if they chase big plays instead of earning them, then it's just another long, frustrating Sunday, and that's the difference between a good team and a disciplined one.